Gdańsk glowed like a furnace that night, heat rising from thousands of Polish fans packed shoulder to shoulder, chanting for their undefeated champion, Krzysztof Glowacki. The air was electric, thick enough to taste. Red flares outside the building painted the sky, and inside, the spotlight carved a path for a new challenger. Oleksandr Usyk, the Olympic gold medalist, with a grin that disguised danger. As he walked toward the ring, he moved with a calm confidence, his eyes sweeping the arena, memorizing every echo and every heartbeat. Glowacki, meanwhile, paced like a man standing on the edge of a cliff he refused to fall from. His pride, his people, and his WBO Cruiserweight World Title rested on his shoulders. When the referee pulled them in, the tension snapped like stretched steel. "Protect yourselves at all times. Obey my commands." A final glare, a final breath, and then the bell, sharp, cold, slicing through the noise. In an instant, the two undefeated forces collided. Usyk's footwork danced like a whispering ghost around the champion, while Glowacki snarled forward with heavy intentions. Every step, every feint, every punch felt like the opening lines of a story neither man wanted to lose. This wasn't just a title defense. This was a nation defending its pride, and for Usyk, this was the beginning of a dynasty he intended to build with his own hands. The storm was here. The first round had begun. Usyk's style unfolded immediately, measured, methodical, almost unnervingly calm. He flicked his southpaw jab with mechanical rhythm, steering Glowacki into angles the champion didn't want to visit. The crowd roared each time Glowacki charged forward, but Usyk kept him turning, kept him missing, kept him reaching. And when the punches did connect, they came from the oddest angles, straight lefts that sliced down the middle, jabs that popped the champion's head back, and lightning-fast combinations that reminded everyone why Usyk's amateur pedigree was the stuff of legend. But Glowacki wasn't the type of man to drown quietly. He surged in the second round, digging hooks into the Ukrainian's ribs, trying to turn finesse into fire. His looping shots cracked into Usyk's guard with enough force to rattle bone. A small cut appeared near Usyk's eye, proof that the champion was landing. The arena erupted at the sight of blood, sensing opportunity. Yet Usyk didn't panic. He responded with a level of composure that only great fighters know, stepping off, twisting his hips, planting sharp counters. The rhythm shifted back and forth, Glowacki charging like a bull, Usyk sidestepping with matador precision. The challenger's footwork painted invisible patterns on the canvas, each movement a whisper of control, and still, the champion surged forward, refusing to let the visitor dictate the night. Neither man was breaking. Both were beginning to understand the war they had entered. The early rounds were no longer a feel-out. They were a test of identity. By the middle rounds, the fight descended into something deeper, no longer just competition, but survival. Glowacki dragged the battle into the trenches, forcing Usyk to fight inside where the champion's hooks thumped against ribs and elbows. He shot counter right hooks over the top, reminding Usyk that this was no ballroom dance. The Polish warrior's eyes burned with a fury fueled by the roars of his people. Usyk, though pressured, remained unnervingly fluid. He tightened his guard, sharpened his angles, and began unleashing crisp 3- and 4-punch combinations. His punches didn't just land, they snapped, stung, and accumulated. Glowacki felt every one, even if he refused to show it. Body shots slowed the champion's advance. Jabs disrupted his rhythm, and perfectly timed step-backs caused him to fall short and off balance. Still, Glowacki kept coming. In close quarters, he landed heavy hooks, uppercuts that scraped danger across Usyk's chin, and roughhouse tactics that pinned the Ukrainian against the ropes. The cut near Usyk's eye darkened, swelling with each exchange. But there was something colder, more calculated behind Usyk's eyes now. Adjustment. His feet glided in patterns that made Glowacki chase shadows. His left hand found new pathways through the champion's guard. Every second felt like Usyk downloading information, then executing solutions. Yet Glowacki's heart refused to buckle. Every time Usyk shifted gears, the champion clawed his way back, fueled by pride, by crowd, by pain, by defiance. It was no longer a boxer versus a brawler. It was a strategist versus a survivor, and neither intended to yield ground. The championship rounds were where legends step forward or fall back, and Usyk stepped forward with both feet. He now controlled the geography of the ring, using pivots that seemed to erase Glowacki's angles. His combinations grew sharper, more deliberate. 1-2s cracked like thunder. Short uppercuts landed between Glowacki's gloves. Step-around hooks caught the champion turning. It wasn't power that broke opponents. It was accumulation, death by precision. Glowacki, bruised and swelling, kept hurling himself forward, throwing bombs with everything he had left. Some landed, big hooks that would have folded lesser men. But Usyk absorbed them with a nod, a grin, or a counter that stole the moment back. The champion grew visibly tired, his footwork slowing, his attacks looping wider. Usyk, however, remained fresh. Footwork like drifting smoke, hands like pistons firing in short, controlled bursts. The Polish crowd, once deafening, now murmured with something that felt like fear. They could see it. They could feel it. The momentum was sliding away. Usyk's jab punished every attempt at aggression. His combinations carved into Glowacki's fading defense. His movement made the ring feel enormous for the champion. And yet, Glowacki's heart refused surrender. Even beaten, he kept firing, kept storming forward, kept throwing desperate punches meant to turn the tide. But this was the rise of a future king, and Usyk was no longer fighting for a belt. He was fighting for destiny. The 12th round exploded with raw emotion. Glowacki, drawing from reserves only champions possess, charged forward as though he could will the world title to remain around his waist. His punches grew wild, looping, desperate, but dangerous all the same. Usyk met him in the center, trading blow for blow, answering every burst with sharper, cleaner precision. It looked like two exhausted warriors fighting not just for victory, but for identity. Mid-round, Glowacki lunged forward and stumbled to the canvas, not from a punch, but from sheer exhaustion and force. The crowd gasped. The referee reset them. The final minute was a symphony of heart, Glowacki swinging from his soul, Usyk countering with mastery. When the bell rang, both fighters froze, eyes locked, lungs burning, spirits intertwined in respect. They embraced like brothers, forged in fire. The scores were read, a unanimous decision. The arena held its breath. And the new WBO Cruiserweight Champion of the world, Oleksandr Usyk. The crowd erupted, half in heartbreak, half in admiration. That night, a new chapter in boxing began. Usyk didn't just win a title. He announced a revolution in movement, strategy, and brilliance. Glowacki didn't just lose. He became part of a story that helped forge a legend. And as Usyk raised the belt, smiling through bruises and sweat, the world saw the birth of a future pound-for-pound king.